Getting Facebook set up. Okay, we got Facebook set up now too. All right. Bye, 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 bye. Wow, 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 wow. Good enough. Let's see what happens. I'm getting Facebook going. All right. It looks like we are good on Facebook too. So let's go ahead and get some work done, hopefully. Hello everybody, this is Zack with Cardinal Gaming and Repair, locally, online at CNA Games. That's our online new rebranding that we're working on. Still kind of getting used to it. Today we have a lot of repairs in our queue, almost all PS5 related. Some are continuations of work that we've been doing, including the controller. It was actually last week. I'm going to spend a little more time working on it before I throw in the towel on it. Other than that, I think it's pretty much all PS5 repair, and it's all no power PS5, so hopefully it'll be a little more entertaining this week with some actual fault finding and you know, diagnostic process, not just standard break fix repairs, which actually end up being better for content, but aren't as are less straightforward than the type of stuff we're going to be doing today. So hopefully there'll be a good challenge and we'll be able to get some good work done. So I'm gonna switch over overhead. We are right now working on a PS5 Edge controller, I think it's called. It's like PS5's Pro controller equivalent. I've been working on this already in some capacity. Had a what looked like a focused hotspot on South Bridge whenever the charger was plugged in, and it would not power on, or it would not connect to either my controller or any PS5 system. So I attempted to replace the PS5 or the South Bridge with one that I'd ordered from China, and now it is dead, no power. So the situation did not get any better by what I replaced. So what we're gonna do is first we're gonna try again to swap out the IC with another new one. I got them right here actually. It's the same IC but different, or at least it says it's the same IC, but it looks like there's some different information under the model of the IC. It's the 64GG. The same 64GG, and I believe that these are for standard PS4 or PS5 controllers and not these Edge controllers. My initial assumption was that as long as the model number of the IC was the same, that we would be able to swap it and it would work, but I'm starting to second guess that, especially since I'm at least pretty confident that the IC that I swapped out was swapped out correctly, but we're worse off than when we started. So hopefully hopefully swapping that IC again gets us somewhere, and if not, then we're going to try to reball the original IC and put it back on, and either reballing that chip will solve the issue, or it will be the proper way for us to throw in the towel by bringing the controller back to factory. This is the chip that I'd initially replaced. Drew P. OPM. Hello. Hello. Let me put this back in there before I forget. Alright. So at this point, all the rest of the work that we're going to be doing is probably going to be under the microscope. Let's see. I need to do some work on my microscope, get it to look a little nicer. I'm not really happy with I gotta find a way to. Okay, so that's straight for you or for me, but it's not straight on the camera, so I need to rotate the camera. I don't like that. It should be straight across the board. I don't think it's because it's not screwed in enough. Oh well. Fix that issue another time. So, you know, like I said, after I replaced this chip, this is the South Bridge. It's actually fairly similar to South Bridges that you find on the systems. I'm assuming its functionality is effectively the same. So we put this chip on, and like I said, I'm fairly confident that I was successful in getting it connected. And like you can see, those are some pretty balls. At least from the outside, it doesn't look like any of them are joined together or not connected. So yeah, at least either this chip didn't work or the chip did not connect properly inside from where I can see around the edges. So we're gonna, this is kind of a Hail Mary. We're gonna replace the chip again, and if that doesn't work, then that's it. We'll reball the original chip and put it back on and call it a day. And I got some new balls to take care of that reballing process. Still trying to figure out a good method for reballing these chips, because both methods that you typically use don't seem to work very well with larger chips like these. At least for me, I've been having a lot of issues using pre-made balls and using solder paste. Okay, Bob, you're the second person to ask weird questions like that, so I'm just going to assume that you are a bot. No bridges after pulling the chip off. So we're going to assume I'll just keep this chip. Really, I ordered 10 of these chips, and in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have, because the only time where it would really be a good idea to try to replace this chip is going to be on a whatever you would call this controller, the edge controller. There's not really a situation otherwise where it makes sense. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. You have asked. Someone has asked that question in the exact same capacity as you. So I'm not gonna. Okay, yeah, here I go. All right, I see everything that I. Either way, I'm not well invested in the stock market, nor am I interested in it. So I wouldn't be a good person to answer your question, even if you weren't a bot. We're gonna clean up these. Clean up these pads. Get them prepped for new solder. We don't need to get them all the way off, just enough to put down. Yeah, yeah. So right now I'm just tinning these pads to prepare them for the replacement chip. Sometimes I wish that I did less, I guess, I don't know if you call them risky or just repairs that don't necessarily have a high rate of success like most of the standard break fix. Yep, Bob, the second exact same process. I'm not surprised. Exact same process. But these kind of repairs have to be done either way, so we're just gonna do what we can. Part of me used to think, oh, I could just take on all the easy repairs and not do any of the hard repairs, but I think a part of doing this kind of stuff is establishing yourself as a competent repair person or a competent business that offers these kind of services to customers. There's a lot of guys out there that, like most businesses, will learn the bare minimum and then go out and offer their services to people and end up causing more harm than good. And most of the time the customer doesn't know one way or the other that they put the care of their device into someone who really doesn't know what they're doing, and that's unfortunate, but that's just how it goes, and it's applicable in just about every business model. All right, we got another 64 GB, and just for reference, it's got some flux on it, but it's otherwise it's still here. This is the original CXD 9064 GG. You can see that this is the same chip, but numbers below it are all different. That's 2112 BZASH, and then 2011 BZASH, and then of course the numbers below that are different. Now I assume to some extent those numbers are going to be different just because it was, different production time or different part of the production process and things like that. Date code and production codes, all that stuff to tell you when it was made in the batch. So there's some level of variance is expected, but I'm also kind of half thinking that maybe this chip was destined to not work just because those primary numbers are different. They're not primary, but the numbers after the 2112 is different than the 2011. I hope that's not the case, because that's pretty much just rendering the work that I'm doing right now worthless. But we kind of don't really have an option. I quoted this repair at $150, so, or I made 100 or 150. This is B2B, so I quoted the repair factoring the type of work that I'm doing, which is BGA rework, along with the cost of the replacement part, which these had to be ordered from China. And we got the ball in the corner, so this is correct orientation. It was priced factoring that stuff, but it's just kind of how it is when you get into these types of repairs. Sometimes they're just not fixable, and that's what you have to deal with. So we've got our replacement chip pretty well lined up. It may not be perfect, but it doesn't really have to be, because once the solder liquefies, it's going to snap into place. Mostly just making sure that it stays relatively centered around these four corners. You can see on the board the little edge indicators. And after this heats up enough, we're going to see it kind of snap into place, and that's going to be the sign that our connection has been made. And there it goes. So now we should be able to nudge it, and it snaps back into position with a nudge. That means that the connection at least should be properly established. So we've replaced the IC again. We're going to give this a chance to cool down, and hopefully we'll end up with at least a chip or at least a controller that was working to the same capacity that it was before. I may not actually replace the original IC, just because I'm already confident that the original chip had failed because of the way that the hotspot was showing up on the thermal camera. When it's consistent and focused in one spot, that's typically an indication of an internal chip failure. So we're gonna call it either way here. Either it's fixable or it's not. Trying to get rid of some of this a little more going on here than it needs to. There's no bridge there, so we don't need to do any more than that. But at least at this point, we've gotten far enough. Is overheating PS5 repairable? Yes, definitely. More often than not, it is not fixable by just dusting it out from the outside, because the power supply inside the system gets clogged up, and it's not accessible by blowing it from the outside. So the only good way to do it is to full disassembly, reassembly, and it could also be overheating from the liquid metal not spreading or not having been spread correctly. So when we do that repair, of course we full disassemble, full disassembly cleaning, and then we respread the liquid metal so that it ensures good contact with the heatsink. And I can actually quote that for you. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so PS5 overheating is 125 plus tax, and that is, like I said, we're full disassembly cleaning and a respread of the thermal interface, which in this case is liquid metal. So that is what we charge. Now, this is cooled down enough to where I can at least plug it in and hope for the same sign of life that we got with the old chip. And there's nothing. That is expected, honestly. It's probably still a little too warm to put it under the thermal camera to look for the same heat signature, but at this point I am fairly confident that in the order of scenarios that make this situation, that it is most likely the chip is not the correct version, because you know, two of them, one failed chip is, you know, I guess, yeah, that can happen, but two back to back failed the exact same way is less likely. So I'm hedging my bets that this is just incompatible, even though the primary model number is the same, the CXD 6000 or 9064 GG. So, yep, there's not really much we can do here. The original chip, I am almost certain, has failed, and the replacements, from the way that I see it, don't appear to be original, or don't appear to be the correct model for what we need. Whether or not they're original, they're original. I at least think they're original, but yeah, we're not getting any more out of this. The good thing about these controllers is that you can plug them in with just a bare board and the battery attached. You don't have to have anything else connected. So when the controller actually works, this is the most that you actually need to have in order to test it. And that's what I'm going to do real quick. Light's not coming up when I plug it into USB power, but maybe I can plug it up to my computer and it will give me some sort of indication of a connection being established. I doubt it, but we'll try. Yeah, no little USB plugged in noise. That is telling me that nothing good is happening here. So at this point, like I said, I'm throwing in the towel on this controller. Hate to see stuff like this happen, but you know, the only reasonable way for this to be fixed would be to have access to the actual chip that we need. And like I said, I just don't think that, even though these have the same model number, that they're the same chips. So what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to wait to do it off camera because it takes a while, and it takes a while and may not even be able to get it properly reballed on the first try. So I'm going to do that not on stream so I can kind of keep things moving on here. Can I get his number? Okay. So with that being said, we are going to move into the next repair in the queue, which is a PS5 that is not powering on. No fix, waiting for response from customer. All right, so we have a PS5, no power, no beep, and power supply should be tested good. So this is for Angela. Here is our motherboard. This system is apparently not powering on at all, so no power, no beep. Usually that indicates a more serious failure, like a short to ground on 12 volt or 5 volt rails. We are going to validate that and hopefully fix the problem. So got the controller stuff all up here still. We're just gonna keep that up there for me to mess around with probably tomorrow to finish up, or to finish reassembling. What we're gonna do now is start doing some diagnostics. On both of these PS5s, you did verify the power supplies were good, right? Okay. So first thing we're gonna do, we're going to measure for shorts to ground on 12 volt rail, and we've got nothing. So we have power, or we have our 12 volt rail intact. The next thing we need to do is can search for 5 volts. It's better to do it under microscope. If I remember correctly, 5 volt comes out here. So there's no short to ground on 5 volt. Well, at least here. It's how it gets chopped up. Let's do some fuse checks. Fuse checks. Well, I'll bring you guys down here with me. All right, we're gonna go through and check all of the primary fuses. There we go. Well, all of the fuses in general. F7002 is right here. And we're good on that one. F7003 right here. Do it by... Hey, look at that. So, starting off, F7003 does not have continuity. So that means we, at the very least, have a fuse issue, but whether or not it is just a fuse issue has yet to be determined. So let's check for, yeah, we also have a short to ground on this side, which could mean this chip is bad, could mean one of the capacitors surrounding this chip is bad. This is where we get to have a little bit of fun, actually. This is where kind of get to show off our repair skills. And we are going to move over to the thermal camera. We're going to inject some voltage. And we're going to see what lights up. Oh, we got a monitor. Whoop, that's not the right one. Alright, there we go. This is the bad way of doing it, but... Oh, no. Still. Alright. So, we've got a short to ground on the inside of this fuse. This fuse is. So, I'm going to try to do this where y'all can see it on camera. Let's move back over to the microscope for now. We're gonna connect here be where we inject voltage. Seems like a good spot. Should put on some flux, but we'll just use what flux is in here. There we go. That'll get the job done for now. Alright. It's not the prettiest, but it's a connection. So we have our wire ran for voltage injection. Connecting or hooking this up to my power supply. We're going to start with 1 volt, 1 amp, and let's see. And we're gonna look at this area of the. All right, so it's right here. Got it. I'm gonna turn this on, and it's drawing the full 1 amp. But it's not heating up right here, so either we need to crank up the voltage. Let's go up to 5 volts. We don't need 2 amps though. So there is some amount of heat being generated here. We need to find where it's happening. It's off to the side of Southbridge, but Southbridge isn't heating up at all. Try to line this up. Yeah, that little heat signature right there, he's telling me something. Let's inject more voltage. There we go. So something is heating up. I'm going to try to figure out what it is exactly. I don't believe that it's the all right. Let's get this lined up with the, trying to line this up to where those holes line up with the little heat signature of the holes. That way when I inject voltage, okay, it looks like it's to the right of where I jacked in. So I am thinking, is this capacitor right here? Well, we can try to feel for some heat, but all right, we're gonna move back to the microscope. Doesn't look directly cracked, but it is the first thing I see, and it's also going to be pretty easy to pull it off and test. So we're going to do that. Got our injector removed. We're going to, we don't really need any flux yet. It's somewhere in this range. It's going to be one of these three. Pretty sure it's this though. We will see after we pull it off. So what we're going to do is we're going to you have any? Okay. I'm not sure if that was actually in line or not. But we pulled that chip off. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Hey, short to ground is gone. Look at that. So we pulled that. So pulled that capacitor off. Short to ground has been relieved. So now the only other thing that we need to do is we're also going to need to replace that fuse. But after replacing that fuse and that capacitor, we should have power. Which is satisfying because usually stuff isn't straightforward like this. And we can't say necessarily that it is going to be straightforward like this because we haven't seen it work yet, but alright, so we've got the fuse pulled and the bad capacitor pulled. I'm going to EDM 030, see if we have any spare boards for this to pull from. So I'll be right back. There we go, just what I needed to see. Fortunately, we have a donor board for this board revision. We're going to look in that same area for the components that we need, measure them working appropriately, and then replace them. Yeah, that fuse looks good, and that capacitor also looks good, so let's pull them off. Start with the fuse, or the capacitor. Yeah, it's bigger. Be able to pull both of them. Got our capacitor. Got our fuse. I don't know if I actually had this board revision. Got a pile of spare boards underneath my desk, but I don't think I actually had that model. Alright, so we see where our work needs to be performed. Let's make this pretty. We're going to tin these pads with some leaded solder. And now we will start replacing things. Start with our fuse. Get it lined up. We used heat to take it off. We're going to use heat to put it back on. If we can get it to cooperate. That satisfying snap into place always feels good. Alright, replace the fuse, replace the capacitor. We're going to do some additional testing. First, measure for a short to ground. No short to ground. Measure the fuse. Fuse is good. So this system is ready for testing. You know, I would love a good way to test this system that has it. Oh, I know what we can do. Yep, I got it. All right, we're gonna go overhead, and we're just gonna reassemble it here. It's not the best place to do it, and we only need to partially reassemble it. Can you give me the liquid metal syringe? Thank you. Put down a little bit of liquid metal. That's too much, way too much. How much do you usually put down whenever you put it back on?
It's like a large pea.
Is that too small? All right, let me see.
Do you plan on putting it back on the heatsink?
Yes. So with these, the most you actually need is for coverage. Any more than that is unnecessary. So if this, and I think this will do coverage, if this works, that's all you need to use. Just like if you want to save and stockpile more liquid metal. But yeah, the only thing that this stuff is different than thermal paste in that, like, if you can see that like silver reflective layer over it, whether it feels like nothing's there at all, that's enough. Because it's I'll show you. If I get this to spread out and stick the way that I'm thinking that it will. Yeah, so if it looks like that over the whole chip, that's all you need. And even if it was half of the amount that I use, that's still the right amount. This is one of those things where, like, less is more. Because it looks like it's going to spread out the way that I want it to. We can start getting more syringes and start hoarding the liquid metal. Yeah, I could even argue that the amount that I used was too much. All right, so we have what's being repaired. Right now, we are in the latter stages of repairing a PS5 that was dead with no power. Oh yeah, especially with the liquid metal being here already. Move this out of the way. Here is the liquid metal. Let me get this to. So I'm not going to fully reassemble this. I'm only going to reassemble it as far as I need to for testing. But I don't like that, so we're gonna try to clean that up. Actually, can I have that syringe back again? I'm gonna try to pull off this little pool. There we go. Then I can clean up the rest of it. Thank you. So we only want liquid metal in this little rectangle. It being anywhere else does not work in our benefit. Maybe spreading it out like this will make it course, this stuff is very difficult to actually get off. Alright, that should be good enough. It's spread out and thinned out to where we don't have to worry about it spreading anymore. We have a good amount of liquid metal on the heatsink, so we're just going to put this back where it needs to go. I'm just going to plug up just enough to be able to turn it on and see a blue light move to a white light. That will mean our job has been completed. But in order to do that, we need to reasonably assemble it, at least to where it won't immediately overheat. So that's what I'm doing right now. This will at least be a satisfying redemption from that controller. If it works, I guess I shouldn't get ahead of myself. So I'm just going to get this heatsink clamp screwed down and alright, we've got it screwed in, we've got our LED board plugged in, we've got our power button board plugged in. We are at a good point to test. You don't want to leave it running very long since there's no fan plugged in, but first I'm going to check for a, let's see if I can zoom out some more. Nope, that's as far as we got. Okay. See that? That's blue light right now. This is already way better than it was before, but we need to see this blue light turn into a white light. Still blue. I could do this for a little, oh, yep, there it goes. Now it's white. All right. So, can't turn it off yet. We're going to properly shut it down. But this at least tells me that the issue that it was brought in for is no longer an issue. Where it did not have power before, it is booting up appropriately. So we're going to let it shut down properly. I'm going to shelf this. Oh, did I not shut it down all the way? Alright, yeah, I'm going to let the power down process happen fully, and it's done. This system will get handed off to Nate for reassembly once he finishes whatever he's doing. But we're good. So at least from a no power standpoint, this system's issue has been fixed. That feels a little better. Going from last week, which was funny because last week I did a, it's still here waiting for pickup actually. This 3DS gave me a heck of a time in my last week's stream. It turns out I did the repair properly the first time, and there was no issues with the cartridge slot or reading 3DS games. I'm dumb. and that was actually what the problem was with this. This is a European version 3DS. I only have US games here, so I didn't think about that. And I went through to do I was going to do a board swap. Like, well, worst case scenario, we can swap the board and data's gone, but at least you'll have a working 3DS. And I was going through the transfer process and I was like, wait a minute, none of these countries are the same. So I put 2 and 2 together at that point, and yeah, I wasted probably a good 2 hours time fixing something that wasn't broke. Now the original issue I did fix, which was the cartridge slot not holding games in place, not locking into place. So I did fix that issue, but then I tried to fix something that wasn't broken after that. So yeah, that's a good way to learn a lesson. I will be very diligent in checking for region lock things causing stuff like this, so that I don't have to worry about it in the future. But yeah, at the very least, I did fix something out of that repair stream. I just didn't realize it. The Series S that I did with all the trace repair, I ended up going back through that like 3 times, redoing my jumpers, verifying they were all good, replacing every component in the repair circuit, or in the display circuits that could be reasonably replacing retimer, redriver, I don't know what they call it for the Series S, and then the ESD booster IC. I replaced both of those. Still same like weird display issue that I'd never seen before, so just chalked that one up as a loss, unfortunately. But yeah, so here we are this week. Controller's still bad, but we do at least have a working PS5 out of the mix. So what are we going to do to celebrate? Oh gosh, where's this motherboard at? Oh, I'm dumb. Okay, yep. The PS5 other motherboard that I'm working on is here in front of my desk. So this is where we're gonna get to have a little more fun. Pretty sure the south bridge is bad on this. We'll move back over to overhead. I can show you the south bridge IC. I'm pretty sure this has failed. I've been doing some testing and actually even have it plugged up to do code reading from my computer to verify that the issue is what I think it is. But before we go into doing the because right now this is dead no power. It was beep on beep off. It was beep on beep off, but now it is dead no power. So before I get into trying to replace something that may not even be broken, I'm just at least going to verify the same range of things that I did before. First, that we still no short to ground on 5 volts. But where, now that I remember correctly, what got me to Southbridge was these 2 little capacitors up here. Red probe on ground. That one's good. Well, that's new. This is not doing what it did the last time, where these were short to ground. Well, if that is the case, that makes my job more complicated because I don't want to replace this if I can't verify there's actually an issue with it. Yeah. We're gonna actually plug it back up and see if we get boot. And if we get boot, then I can do some testing through UART. Let's get this connector plugged in. Where does this plug in at? I don't remember. Right here. All right. So I got a little makeshift bench tester. We're gonna plug all this in. This goes with that PS5. And then red probe is on the inside. So what I'm doing is I'm pretty much just putting together a good testing setup for me to plug this into my computer and do some code reading from software that I got. Make sure none of this stuff is touching. We're good there. We are going to plug this in. So I got my one end of the cables plugged in on the PS5. The other end is plugged into my little UART tool right here. I'm gonna plug that into my computer. We've got USB reader plugged in. I'm going to plug in my power supply. Now, let's so this guy, well, I don't think you can see it. I'm going to try to do this in a way that y'all can see it. Oh wait, wrong boards. This guy goes here, and this guy goes here. That's our LED board. So I turn this on. Well, it's dead, no power. I'm doing the same thing. If I remember correctly, this is plugged in right. Yes. And so where I was getting beep on, beep off on this before, now it is dead, no power. And we can verify the power supply. We get 12 volts. No, we don't. Are we plugged in? Okay, there's 12 volts. Yep. We have 12 volts to the board from the power supply. But when we try to turn this on, nothing. It is dead. Don't see any other things that I could reasonably assume to cause this issue. We're going to go back over the board again, look at everything, see if we can find out why it is dead no power versus where it was initially. Beep on, beep off, which is a worse issue. I much prefer dead no power as the starting point, like with that previous PS5 that we fixed. But this is kind of a I haven't been able to verify exactly what the issue is on this system yet, and I don't want to give this back to the customer saying, yeah, we couldn't fix it and we don't even know what's wrong. I at least want to know what's wrong before we say that we can't fix it, or that it's not reasonably fixable, or at least cost effective to fix. So that's why I'm spending the good time on this one. I spent a lot of time on this through last week, and where normally I would try to avoid spending a lot of time on systems. It's mostly when you know, okay, yeah, I could fix this and it might fix the issue. With this, I don't know where the problem is exactly to say that whether or not I can or can't fix it. Usually if, like, you know, I can reasonably trace a problem to RAM or APU, then, you know, I'm not gonna try to hunt down which RAM module is bad, or, you know, try reballing the APU or anything like that. Those type of repairs are not cost effective. They're just not. So, like, you know, I'd either outsource it to someone who has built that type of stuff into their business model, but that's not me. I'm not that guy. I have not built APU reballing into our business model, and I don't like to offer the cheap way out on stuff like that, which is reflowing the APU or reflowing RAM, anything like that. That's more often than not, those are short-term band-aids to what is otherwise going to be a long-term issue. So I'm going to take this stuff off for now. Don't mind the terrible solder joints. I don't need them to be pretty right now. I just need them to connect, and they did their job. All right, we got these back to... Come on, this is what happens when you don't have flux. Cleaning up my work. Listening to my thermal camera tell me that it sees hot stuff. All right. We got our cable disconnected, and we need to find out why we're dead no power. So I'm going to do what I did with the first motherboard that we worked, or the last one that we worked on. First, I'm just going to test fuses. Usually on dead no power, things tend to be pretty straightforward. Worst case scenario is okay, that's good. And see if this is short to ground. It is not. It's kind of low, but F7002. Is there anything else on the underside? I don't think so. While we're over here, though, we're going to go ahead and test those capacitors again, see if they... Yeah, they're doing what they need to do now. Darn these pain-in-the-butt systems. So we're going to go back to top side. We're going to do some capacitor hunting. Here's 7001. You can see I've been here before. I'm going to test this fuse. That fuse is good. F7003, this is the one that was giving us trouble on the last system. Hey. So this fuse is bad. So we need to replace F7003. But now I think what happened here was there's no failed components here. If I yeah, see there's no short to ground on this side or anything like that. So I don't think this chip has failed or any of the capacitors surrounding it have failed. I think this just happened during the troubleshooting process. Yeah. So we're just going to replace this fuse and then we're going to attempt to test again. This at least gets me back to where we were before. So I need an F7003. This motherboard, pretty sure F7002 is going to work just the same way. So we're going to steal this, well, F7502. We're going to first test it working. Alright, that fuse is working. I'm going to pull it off of this one and put it on the other one. Here's my little brick. Where is it? My little counterweight. Alright. So this fuse is good. Let's see if I can be lazy and pull this off without hot air. Okay, gonna have to use hot air. I tried. We're gonna stop using thermals for now, so I'm gonna unplug that so it stops beeping at me. Alright, pulling off this fuse. Could have probably got it off if I float in some leaded solder, but we'll get there either way. Got it pulled. Got it on my little tweezers. Now we're going back into 7003 on this board. Again, validating that it is indeed blown, and it is. So just like with removal, we're gonna swap this out. Sometimes when they're blown, they'll break up pretty easily when you take them off. Now, I'm not expecting this to solve the problem, unfortunately. I'm expecting this to bring us back to beep on, beep off. I'd be happy if this solved the problem, but I'm not expecting it to. Oh, stayed together. Don't want to lose it, so we're going to get it down first. Come on, cooperate. There we go. Alright, we replaced the fuse. We're going to test for continuity. Continuity has returned. So now we're going to go back into trying to get this, well, now before we go into plugging it up for code reading, we're going to replicate the issue, which is beep on, beep off. All right. Right now I'm just getting power and LED board plugged in. That way we can see how it behaves on attempt to boot. Here's our power supply. We'll try to squeeze out a little more room here rather than, you know, actually try to fix my area and have it be manageable over multiple repairs. I'm just gonna keep scooting stuff out of the way. Alright, this is all the PS5 controller stuff. I could get a tray, but look at that. There we go. We're on here now. So we need to get red probe positive, black probe negative. We've got plugged in over here. Now we're gonna plug this in and hope that we are at the very least where we started. Yep, we are back to where we started. So if you look up here on our LED board, we've got attempt to boot. Well, there we go. Attempt to boot, power's back off. So this is where we're going to get back into code reading with my USB code reading tool. First, let me bring it up and make sure that my virus settings are set to let it go. For some reason, it looks at this as a virus, even though it's not. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know. All right, I'm gonna what are we doing now? We're gonna get our I was using a different code reader and that one didn't work very well, so medium 0 RX and TX. So just make sure that it's the opposite of what it is on here. On here, RX is red, so red goes to the bottom. All right, easy enough. Red to bottom. All right, so Let's launch our code reader. Actually, I gotta do this off screen so you guys don't see any of our... Alright, launch our code reader, get it, use this hardware ID reader to verify my license. So I'm gonna let that do that real quick. Okay, actually I need to do it while it's plugged in, so we're gonna reconnect our test points. Red on the bottom. Before we do this, I'm going to shorten these connections so there's less opportunity for them to get bridged. All right, there we go. So top is ground. And TXRX. I just need to make sure I have this correct because you don't want to have them, you want them swapped. RX is red, so green is second and red is third. That's what we're looking for. Use some tweezers, make this a little easier. Green is second. Red is third. All right, our connections have been made. Oh, come on, don't put Mason down like that. All right. There's different brains. This is the brain. He's Pokemon brain. He's got Pokemon on the brain. I guess I would too if I liked Pokemon as much as he does. All right, let me load this up. All right, no PS5 detected. That means it is not plugged in, but we can at least move over here. You guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna plug power up to this PS5. It's gonna tell me what's going on. So I've got it plugged in. Now we just gotta wait for the PS5 to be detected. Maybe. Might have to switch around our cables. Yeah, I'm gonna bring you guys back here real quick. I'm gonna restart the application. Okay, so it is not detecting the PS5. It is booting, so this is making me think we need to swap some cables around. Alright, so let's go back and do some cable swapping. At least it'll be easy. We're gonna disconnect power from our power supply. I'm gonna swap red and green. All right, restore power back to it. All right, now, yep, so we needed to swap cables. We're gonna read last 10 error codes. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. I pressed F5 instead of 5, or 2. So 2, enter. Let's see what it, oh man. Yeah, see, this is where I got last time, and general power failure 2 from Southbridge. So what I don't want to do here is APU VRM. Yeah, this is, I got those two issues with the other reader that I used. I did not get power failure 2 from Southbridge. The worst part about this is nothing's telling me in plain enough English what I need to do. So I could go in and start trying to do stuff, but I could also end up wasting my time, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I paid $100 for this software, hopefully to keep me from spending time gambling on stuff, because right now I don't have enough information from what I found on the board and what this code reader is telling me to confidently move forward with something. So here we are with nothing. I'm not sure what to do here. Realistically, the only thing that I can think of would be to replace Southbridge, but it's not giving me enough information to say, yeah, replace Southbridge. It's not like, I'm not seeing, like, we can look at thermals. Let me plug it back in my thermal camera. And from what I see, the thermal response to boot is what appears to be normal to me. Let me plug this back in. Wait for device to show connected. I have to flip this around so we see Southbridge. Now, all right, it should be, yep, Southbridge is right there. We're gonna attempt to boot. Yeah, that's I don't know. It's focused heat, but it's still just really not enough for me to confidently say that I need to replace this, because I mean, heat generation is going to happen when to a Southbridge when you power it on, and it's not going to be uniformly spread because not all aspects of the chip are handling high level power delivery. But I hate doing stuff like this because I don't want to do a repair that I don't confidently, that I can't reasonably say has a good reason. So this isn't a repair. This is just a, you know, I'm gambling, and I don't want to gamble. But I guess the opposite side of this is calling it a no fix and not getting any money, which does definitely suck. I do like money. That is unfortunately how it goes with these types of systems. I'm invested into this system multiple hours now, a good multiple hours now, and if I give up, my money or my time will have been for nothing. But if I keep doing this and I get nowhere, then even more of my time ends up being for nothing. So, yeah. The queue otherwise has, oh no, is that a 2DSX? No, that's finished. That's finished. Oh, thank God. I hate 2DSXLs. We're gonna disconnect power here. All right. Really, the question is at this point, are we gonna do Southbridge or not? And I guess I could try reballing a existing Southbridge that I have. I don't have any pre-balled Southbridge chips. Why? I don't know. I should have ordered some because they are at least available now. But yeah, I'm not that smart. Let's see. I need to. All right, not missing anything on Facebook. Okay. Let's try one more time to have this device give me a reason to replace Southbridge. So I'm just going to check for checking for shorts to ground on any of these circuits coming out of or going to there we go. Yeah, I got ahead of myself.
How's the events for Lacan tomorrow, or just doing the release? I do not believe we're doing any events.
Yeah, all this is same circuit stuff. A lot of overlap. I am probably not going to get anywhere doing this. Like I said, I'm just really just trying to get something that says replace this chip. And a short to ground would give me what I need to say replace this chip. But I'm just not getting that. I'm looking at the same things over and over again. So, oh, what chip is this? That's 64. I had a Southbridge somewhere around here. It's 42. And here's a 61. I don't know what the status of this chip is to know if it's good or bad. You know what? Yeah, well, let's I'm not gonna try reballing a chip that I don't even know the status of, but we're gonna try to reball. We're gonna pull from this board. We're gonna pull this. Wait a minute, I pulled a chip recently. Is that the chip that I pulled? Okay, actually, I have one right here. This is the one that I set to the side. 61 GG, it sure is. Alright, this is our this is our chip. This is what we're gonna do. Just barely enough flux to coat this board, or coat the underside of this chip. Need to do some maintenance on this. This is supposed to be a direct heat stencil. Let's just see how direct heat it actually is. We've got little balls. Alright, this is not going to work the way that I want it to. I need to tape this down. So that's what we're going to do. Before I get ahead of myself, we're going to tape it down. In order to do that, I need some tape. Where is my Kapton tape? Kapton tape. Tape of Kapton. Temperature resistant tape. heat resistant, not temperature resistant. I don't know how well it responds to cold, but it does respond well to heat. That's my big roll. Where is my normal roll? It's not under my pile of junk. It's under this pile of junk. It's not under this pile of junk. It's not under that pile of junk. Well, there's only so many pile of junks that it can be under. And it's very likely that it's right in front of my face. And it is. It's right here, in front of my face. As usual. I'm going to put down some tape on both sides to hold it in place. Looks like I'll have wasted these balls. Now one side down, put the other side down. You know what, we'll get all four corners. We lose nothing, but more time. We've already got so much time invested in this. What's the worst that could happen? If the tape sticks, you know, it could also not stick. All right, reasonably sticking in place. Time to drop some balls. That should be enough to get us started. Spread these out. Fingers probably pulling up some of these, but worst part about this is going to be when this ends up not being direct heat, and it flexes, and all my work is gone. And that corner looks good. Alright, if I'm seeing this correctly, all of our holes have been filled with balls. We've got balls in our holes. Making sure there's nothing else left on the Yep, everything looks good. So we're gonna see airflow 0. Temperature, we're gonna do 260. Airflow, we're gonna do, and then we're gonna see what happens. Raise it up to 300. I just want to see one ball. Increase our airflow. Increase our airflow a little more. Alright, more heat, more airflow. It looks like they're melting, but I want this to be more uniform. You definitely see it flexing some, so we gotta be careful. We don't want to lose our work. see this lifting up. Let's try this. Trying to keep this from, nope, not wide enough. Alright, hey, look at that. I'm reasonably happy with how that turned out. Reballing is not my forte. So to get this to turn out is at least satisfying to me. So now what we need to do is take all this tape off and hope that when we pull this up, no balls come with the stencil. That is where our success will be. If it works, then we'll do a final reflowing, and then yeah, it looks like we're good. All right. So we got the stencil pulled off. We're gonna flow this one more time. Let's look for some nice shiny balls. Shiny uniform balls is the mark of success here. Yes. All right. We got some shiny balls. No bridging. Pre-made balls, so they should all be uniform. The next thing we're gonna do is let that cool down. We're gonna pop it out of the board, out of the stencil, and swap it as our Hail Mary for this repair. I am not enthusiastic. I have no expectation that this is going to fix the problem, but it's either try this and get paid, or don't try this and try this and maybe get paid, or don't try this and definitely not get paid. And I want to maybe get paid at least. Look at that. That's a beautiful chip. Nice uniform balls. Balls. So now that we've got our balls in place, you can see our balls here, nice and uniform, consistent balls. I wonder how many there are there. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 by 18 by 18 minus the holes that are here. That's a lot of balls. That's a lot of balls. Do a little bit of cleanup. All right. Motherboard. 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 All right. This is the one I've been working on. Yep. All right. So actually, I've got a. Yeah, there's no good way for me to do this because I've got to. For me to properly do this, I got to use my preheater, and for me to use my preheater means that I can't really effectively show this process because the south bridge has to be pulled using a preheater. The old one has to be pulled using a preheater, and then it has to be replaced using the preheater as well. That way we don't risk damaging the board when we apply intense heat in a focused area for an extended time. That's kind of the necessary process for South Bridge, since it's a pretty large IC. So what I'm going to do is I've got my preheater firing up. I'm going to prepare that PS5 to have its South Bridge pulled, and then unfortunately we're going to move on. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, but yeah, we're moving on. Let's see. We need to see what's next in the queue. That is that one. These are gone. Disassembled, no power, no beep is getting reassembled. A PS4 controller. Well, it's pretty straightforward, but it's a repair we can do nonetheless. It's going to be a more straightforward repair, but after coming from Hail Mary South Bridge, I guess I'm not upset. This is PS4 controller. It has joystick drift. We are going to verify that it has joystick drift. And then after we verify that it has joystick drift, we are going to replace the joystick that has joystick drift. First thing I'm going to do is find me a micro USB controller, or micro USB cable. Of course I don't have one convenient, but I can steal the one that I use for charging my screwdriver. All right. I'm gonna plug this up and I'm gonna let you guys see the process that I use to, you know what, I could probably just leave this plug. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. That way I can have, I need USB-C and I need micro USB plugged in at all times. All right, we're gonna F5, open up our gamepad tester, and plugged in the computer. The other end, plugging it in. It sees the controller, and already I'm gonna say right joystick. That jitteriness is everything that I really need to see. Everything seems pretty smooth on left joystick, but that right joystick is going all over the place. Oh, yep, now it's even centering. Yeah, like that's, yep, okay. So we got a right joystick drift. We're gonna crack this thing open and get to work. For us to fix this issue, we're gonna need a replacement joystick. There's our replacement joystick. And we're just gonna jump right in. Okay, gonna need to screw it into plastic. These screws are tighter than my electric screwdriver can reasonably do, so. Oh yeah, I'm not recording. I guess it doesn't matter if I record because Mason could just download the video from his computer off of YouTube. I think Mason's here, right? Hey, Mason. Oh well. At this point, it doesn't make a difference either way. We got it all unscrewed. Gotta get these. There we go. This I'll be chopped out, right? Yeah, then I'm not even there. It's not like you can cut off sources. Alright. We got a little plastic clips holding this in place. Get them out of that, and then we got vibration motors to desolder. Now we have our controller torn down to just the board. We're doing right joystick. Go ahead and turn on my hot air gun. Get this clamped up. So what I'm going to do here is try to spread out some heat. Where I can pull this out. I was using my reballing temperature. So I need to use my thin board temperature. Trying to keep the air moving a little bit so I don't melt the plastic on the joystick on the other side, and that just makes it harder to remove it. A little bit of plastic melting, but not a whole lot. We can zoom in a little. We're going to be sucking the solder out of these holes. This is our old joystick. Gone. New joystick is going to go in its place. So before we go into suck mode, we're going to flow some leaded solder in here. That just makes it easier to clear out these holes. Now we're going to use the Solder Sucker 9000. Well, this is the FR301 actually. Solder Sucker 9000 sounds cooler though. That one didn't go all the way. That one didn't go all the way. Anchors are good though. That's the important thing. Alright, we got 3. I'm going to flow some solder back into these holes and try again. So we got one right here. Got time for the solder to flow good. Right here. And then one right here. And then we're going to try it again. That's good. Clear. Clear. All right, our holes have been cleared out. Now, check for no bent pins. I'm gonna put this in from the bottom. A little bit of residual solder in the anchors, kind of making it difficult, but it's also holding it in place for me so I don't have to I just get these anchors, get them first out of the way. Should be residual flux on the board to flow everything. I'm gonna hold these points long enough. Oh, do I need to record? If I wanted you to pull stuff for this to make content, could you just download the YouTube video and it'd be okay? Then I will not record anymore.
Why is it slowing you down? Or...
No, it just I forgot to do it, and now it would be, you know, otherwise usable content would be gone unless we did that.
Yeah.
I'm
Doesn't matter either way, I guess.
okay.
That's great.
Oh, that's old. I forgot to get. It's probably just a bank statement or something. All right, we got our new joystick on. We're gonna do some cleanup. At least out of this, we'll have two good repairs today. All right, got our new joystick in. We're gonna take battery, plug in battery. I don't remember if PS4 controllers actually need it, but PS5 controllers need battery for connecting. So there, we get a battery. We get a controller, plug it in. Now there's a chance that this could be out of calibration. Oh, that's the difference. Where is the, oh yeah, backboard. You gotta plug in the, so it's not the same. It's been a while since I've had to do drift on a joystick for a PS4. You gotta plug in the back cover. That's where the micro USB cable is. But we got that plugged in. So we're gonna plug this up. And while the drift is gone, you can see that it is out of calibration. It's about 17% to the left. We're gonna fix that. Pretty straightforward repair. There's a handful of different ways you can do it. The way that I do it, just because it's the easiest way to do it, is attaching a little calibration module. It's just one of these called variable resistors. There we go. This allows you to adjust the X and Y axis and get it to pretty much just end up where you need it. Get the anchors down first. Don't really need the anchors, but there's a handful of different, like I said, there's a handful of different ways you can do this. This is just for me, it's the easiest way, the least time consuming, and I place a high value on not being time consuming, especially so I can, spend extra time working on the repairs that end up racking my brain for hours on end.
What do you want me to put as the solution for this one?
Replaced fuse and blown capacitor.
What capacitor?
Just a blown capacitor. All right, we've got the little calibration tool installed. I'll take it out of its holder. And I got a little flathead screwdriver over here I'm going to use to still need the there we go. Let's go over here. So you can see we're going to correct that y-axis or the x-axis. Did I replace the wrong joystick? No, I just put the calibrator on the wrong joystick. That is stupid, but it's less stupid. Less stupid, but still stupid. Calibrator being there is of little consequence, but should not have done that. Yeah, this is the one that I should have put that on. Fortunately, they're cheap, and I have a bunch of them. So yeah, let's atone for our sins. Properly this time. I was wondering why it was so hard to flow these, given there was already flux here. Yeah, I was thinking I probably don't even need any. These are all just anchors. B2B has another batch coming, and it's a lot of PS3s and PS2s. Yippee! All right. Check connections are good enough. Again, this time correctly. Plug in back panel, plug in battery. What time is it? 5:38? Okay. And now we're gonna plug this up and test it. Well, I have to recalibrate the other one since I put that on anyway, so we'll at least be able to do that. So our y-axis looks pretty good on this one. It's just x-axis we need to worry about. So we're just adjusting this resistor wrong way. We're looking for There we go. And now we'll adjust this back. All right. Both of these joysticks are now centered correctly. Some amount of unnecessary work in this repair, but you know, that's what happens sometimes. We do that every once in a while. But as long as the end result is a repaired controller or repaired device in any capacity, that's all we can ask for. Joystick 1. Where's joystick 2? It should be here. I took it off. Did I drop it on the floor? Oh, it's right here. All right, so joysticks are back in place. After this, we'll be able to pull Southbridge. I'll have to do that off camera, but all right. Got our vibrator motors, plural, reattached. Get our battery put back on. Looks like we have everything back in place. Back panel, plug it in. Four screws, screw them in. I've been kind of trying to figure out whether or not I really even want to offer these. These as repairs, it's a kind of a pain in the butt. The amount of time put in versus the amount of money received. All right. We're gonna take this back to set up for testing. We're just gonna do a once over, make sure all buttons and joysticks work. Full rotation, centering well enough. We're getting response on the joystick switches. All right, yep, the controller's good. Guy's gonna need to be contacted, and he shouldn't have been put in that bag in the first place. Not gonna waste your guys' time, whoever's here. I'm not gonna waste y'all's time talking to somebody on the phone. So I'll just let Nate take care of that. And in the meantime, oh yeah, gotta knock off this south bridge. Well, you know, since we already got the reballed south bridge, and this one's about to get pulled off, I'll at least I'm gonna pull this off and I'll put it on. All right, old one is pulled in a rather fantastic manner. Gotta let it cool down actually. So we're still gonna move on to another repair. Nope, y'all shouldn't be seeing that. 2, 1, there. Nothing important, just that that sheet also has customer information that I don't want to give out. Alright, we've got that one. Replaced joystick. Switch light, no power. Yes, I like those. I like those. Alright. Switch light, no power. And these are 2 of the same customer. Okay, we got, yep, 2 switch lights. Please, guys. Who took these in? Alright, we got 2 switch lights. Both ones screen has black bar or dark spots. That is the yellow one. Well, they're both dead, so one of them's no power. We're gonna figure out which one is no power, and then go from there. Yellow, well, before I just go plugging it all willy-nilly, I'm gonna at least check the... Okay, that one. Alright, this one is broken screen. You can tell immediately. This one appears to be no power. Alright, so yellow switch light is broken screen. I don't want to do broken screen on camera, so we'll do the no power. Will you contact that customer? Let him know his controller's ready for pickup. Alrighty. We need... There it is. Got my little USB amp meter. So we're going to see what it's doing. All right, so we're getting 15 volts. And we're getting close to 100 milliamp draw. But no activity on the screen. All right, that tells me something. The port itself looks good, so I'm not assuming that it's the port. I need... right here the whole time. All right, I'm gonna start taking this system apart. No, there it is. Okay.
I think that system in the freezer is good to mess with now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Really, the week is overkill by 6 days. The problem is solved in 1 day for sure. But you know, it's kind of good to stick it to them either way. Six days of buffer to be safe. Alright, the screws are all off. Screws are all off, yep. Come on, no liquid damage. It looks... Oh. Are these guys about to pay a bench fee off of a connector not plugged in? I mean, it could be worse. Alright. Alright. Let's see what this looks like with connector plugged in. Now I gotta... Well, that's all she wrote. I'm not sure how that happened, but yeah, we plugged in backlight. That's what we did. We plugged in backlight, and yeah, that's charging symbol, and screen looks good otherwise. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unplug the amp meter, plug this in, set it off to the side, and we're gonna forget about that one. That was an easy 25 bucks. We'll leave it at that. We're not gonna charge them any more. We're not gonna charge them any less. 25 bucks. Gets you in the door. These are all the same screws, so I can put them together. This is kind of easy in the sense that the frame or the middle frame holds the replacement screen in place. So as long as the digitizer is good and looks good, we don't need to replace digitizer. And we could it'll save them money if we don't. Because at that point, it's effectively an entire assembly swap. Well, we gotta get the rest of these screws, Zach. Got replacement. You know what, we'll see. We'll take this apart and we'll see where we're at. hopefully now metal shield's all beat up. Maybe we'll replace that too in the process. Looks like a bad drop happened right here. But the system still powers on, so we're not going to worry about it too much. We are going to need to fully disassemble this, so I'm going to take it apart from this side. We can zoom in a little bit, get a little more intimate. All right, there we go. Everything unplugged over here. Just gonna work on getting everything unplugged first. Went to Jungle Gyms in Cincinnati. Been there probably too many times recently, or more times than I should reasonably say. Cincinnati is about an hour and a half from here, so it's a little bit of a drive. But first went there with my older sister and her husband, and they revealed it to me and my wife, and it was super cool. Then went again with my brother-in-law and his wife. Me and my wife did, to show them, and then last Tuesday we went with my kids to show them, and they loved it. Jungle Gyms is a whole shopping experience. So if anybody ever finds themselves in Cincinnati, go to Jungle Gyms. Do yourself a favor. Let's try to make this easier with power. They are a international superstore or supermarket, and emphasis on super. It is a whole lot. Definitely an enjoyable experience. And they let you drink beer while you walk around. Or alcohol, because they also have wine there, but I'm not a wine drinker, so that did not appeal to me. Being able to shop and drink and see a bunch of stuff you've never seen before, definitely a cool shopping experience. For a little bit, we thought about trying to figure out a way to implement alcohol in our operation, and then the bar 2 doors down from us moved out, and the landlord said no alcohol here ever again. No alcohol in the shopping center. Which I guess I can understand it. Alright, we are down to board getting pulled. Oh, got this guy. Man, I'm just forgetting all kinds of connections. There we go. Nothing was damaged. And anything that was damaged could be replaced, so it's not a big deal. Now we got this side done. Try to at least stay in focus. It's a little hard for me to work efficiently and do that, but I'll try. All right. That is not a part of it. So we got this one, this one, this one. I believe that is everything. Yep. So this is where it becomes a lot easier to just replace the LCD compared to replacing both the glass and the LCD, because we have just this as the glass, or as the LCD, versus the glass and the LCD, which requires a gasket, and then we have to fully undress the shell. So we're gonna switch HDH LCD. I haven't used one of these in a while. We've got our replacement LCD. And the good thing about it, like I said, it fits in the so got this here. We're gonna try to separate this. I want to keep the gasket, but it might be a little difficult. We're gonna heat this up, loosen it up a little bit. Well, we got some of it off, but not the important part. And it's backlight, that's cool. Don't really know the construction of LCDs, but I think we're just gonna do a whole assembly swap. It is the path of least resistance in just about every scenario with switch broken screens. So I could go in and try to replace this whole assembly, but it's really not worth it, especially when we have a bunch of spare parts. But you know what? We're in a good spot on the queue. Maybe we'll do it anyways. But in order for us to do that, we gotta undress it. And these joysticks are probably garbage anyways. Was this quoted correctly? Important thing is if this was quoted as a screen replacement, because if it wasn't, then okay, it was. That's good. That means I can justify the extra work. We're gonna go back out. These 4 screws are shell screws. I should be able to remember them anyways. We're gonna throw away these joysticks. We're gonna replace them with new ones. Nate, remember those the stuff I was looking for? It's all right here in front of my face. Remember when I was looking for all that? I had you helping me. It was all right here in front of my face. Oh, well, good. I found it in front of my face. Preparing my preheater so I can loosen up the, you know what am I doing? What am I doing? I don't even need that. I've got the technology. We need gasket, we need yellow digitizer. Blue, yellow. Yellow digitizer. We need yellow front shell assembly. Do we not have those? I guess I only bought pink. Okay, so we still have to do it. Well, at least new digitizer ready to go. So I'm going to put this on our Alright, got everything ready on standby for the shell swap. Alright. But for the short term, we're gonna move back to PS5 with no power. We took off the south bridge. And we need to prepare the south bridge area for a new one. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that by there's our south bridge area. Plenty of flux. Let's get this to look good for both of us. And there we go. Just gonna flow-leaded solder into all these pads and get up all the lead free that's left behind. And it looks good. So, we didn't burn up the flux. We've got plenty of flux left on here. And we need to find our orientation marker. It is right there. So, top left corner. Where's our... Just gonna put some heat on this to... We're not gonna try to reflow it into place yet. We're just looking for our orientation indicator. Get a little bit of isopropyl on here. Clean up this chip, find our indicator is over here in the corner, so we've got try to get rid of this glare so we can see. We can see, but it's not pretty. I'm gonna try to wick up some of this just so it's not so not so reflective. Makes it a little easier for us to look at.
PS5 repair permission.
Thank you, Ralph.
Yep.
Trying to get this lined up in the corners that matter. Nope, lost it. Now, it should snap into place. That looks like good placement. I'm going to throw this back on the preheater board. I'm going to take it back up to 300, which is where we were at first. And then we got the separation we needed on this guy. Ooh, that's hot. All right. So now that we've got this separated, we need to do some cleaning, and then we're gonna put down some Tessa tape. I don't think this is pre-taped. If I remember correctly, it is not. Yep, it is not taped. So I'm gonna clean this up. This is a extra service, but it will look nice when it's done at least. Probably would help if I just, before we go in trying to clean this all up, it'd probably be good to just loosen up all this old dirt. Hand cheese, whatever you want to call it. All right. Trying to break it all up right now with our brush, and we'll come back with a Q-tip to get it all out. That seems reasonably good. So now it's Q-tip action. The boring part of screen replacement is cleaning. Well, actually, all of it's pretty boring. I don't like doing screen replacements in any capacity. There's not a screen replacement that I enjoy doing. Phones suck. Tablets suck. We do them. I don't have to like them, but we do them. Alright, now that we've got, what is in here? Oh, these are the pink gaskets. These are 2DS XL gaskets, or front screens. These are the back panels for them, and I've been waiting for these. These are hopefully, yep, real rubber joysticks. The last ones that I got were plastic and not rubber. These are 3DS joysticks. So this is going to go a long way for us. That's going to fix a lot of bad joystick 3DSs, which is very common, unfortunately. Well, I guess it's not bad because it is pretty easy to replace, so I shouldn't complain that much. And so next up is going to be the taping. I'm going to try to find appropriate size tape. Alright, I think I'm going to need thinner tape for the rest of this, if I understand correctly. Yep. So we need probably 2 different thinner tapes. This is just different sizes of double-sided tape that we have. That might actually do the job for the smaller stuff. Maybe a little too small. Yeah, no, that's actually really good. All right. Yep, that's a good size. All right. Got that corner, or that side. It's got the top and the sides to do. I think I'm just going to use this for all the rest of the sections. This could probably go with a little bigger, but it'll be fine. There's that, and then one more side, and then we have all 4 directions taken care of. Or all 4 edges, corners, whatever you want to call them. Nope, I'm sure y'all don't want to see my head. It's easy for me to do that. I've got a big head. Alright, a little bit of cleanup to do, and then we're good to go. Put up our tape. You did good, tape. You did good. Alright, got our tape cleaned up and installed. Now we need to prepare the digitizer. So what I want to do here is kind of make this a very fast process to reduce the likeliness of dust intrusion. I don't actually know if there's I would think they would have both sides relatively covered. I don't think I'm just, what that's doing is destroying it, so. Yep, I ruined this one, but I did it for science. Because that is not supposed to be separated. Alright, well, let me go get another one. Science. Why they wouldn't put a dust cover on that is beyond me, but you know, I can't win them all. But at least I know it's out of the frying pan and into the something in another. what I'm going to do here too, as another means of preparing for this, since this pretty well fits in here, I'm going to tape it in place. That way we don't have to worry about it moving around post-assembly. So we're just gonna throw down a couple big long strips of our thick Tessa tape. Oh, lost my knife. All right, lots of Tessa tape put down. That's not what I wanted it to do at all. Yep, this surface doesn't take the tape very well, I think is what the issue is. Yeah, this tape really does not want to stick to this at all. Alright, nice and secure in place. We've got our ribbon cable fed through here. Alright, last one. Got this staged. So this all needs to, probably the best thing to do now is to put on some gloves. Minimize dust and oil from fingerprints, or oily fingerprints. We're trying to do this right. Get rid of all the variables that would make this difficult. Prepare our front shell. Yes, it is this way. All right, that's nice. So I'm gonna get a little bit of assistance from some compressed air. We got any left over? Nope. So the goal here is to take this, flip the screen off, or take the screen cover off, put it down into place, and introduce as little dust as humanly possible. Clean room would be nice right now. All right. So remove the point of no return. And we'll keep these gloves on now because they're fancy. How's it look from this side? It looks good. I don't see a speck of dust on the inside. That's good. That's good. All right, now, since we've got that out of the way, you know, I feel less bad about these, given how easy that was. We need 2 new joysticks. Let me go grab those real quick. Switch joysticks. Two fresh white joysticks to pop into here. This is going to be a nice looking system when it's all done. Well, as nice as it can be. The shell's not perfect, but it's going to look better than it did before. Oh my gosh. Okay. One joystick down. Go ahead and get all these buttons back in place. Not that I remember where they go. One more button, X. All kinds of reassembly before we get to the juicy part. Seeing it work. Maybe switch it around. There we go. Alright. We're getting there. Oh, okay. Still got working mic. Alright. Go ahead and get all the rest of this stuff put back where it needs to be. New power supply. Amen, brother. Rid of some of all this extra junk. All right.
Good. I was just calling to let you know that you're here for it to be taken care of. Thank you. The remaining balance will be 225. We're going to be open until 10 o'clock tonight. Thank you.
All right. Get these ribbon cables fed correctly. Would be funny if I broke that ribbon cable that I just installed. I guess if you have a cruel sense of humor, maybe. But yeah, we got that. I'm gonna tack it down. Tack it down here. That won't move around. And we can Liz. I gotta finish up I gotta reassemble a switch that I'm working on and heat up a chip, and then I'll head out. So I should be leaving in like 15 minutes at the most. You just throw them in the oven. It'll be fine. All right. Love you. Bye. Oh, I'm missing out on hot food. Oh well. Hot food doesn't compare to the satisfaction of a huge queue. Well, I won't say huge, but a decent sized queue of repairs finished. I guess it doesn't help that I had steak yesterday, so I'm kind of... I don't think I could... I'm not concerned with having a nice meal today anyways. Made a dry-aged ribeye and a regular USDA prime ribeye and an American Wagyu, which wasn't... It is a marketing gimmick of marketing gimmicks. It is not comparable in any capacity to Japanese Wagyu, for sure. But it was $40 for one. I would assume at least to be the same quality as USDA Prime. Got it from Jungle Gyms. But yeah, I would not consider it anywhere comparable to Wagyu that I've had before. Man, Wagyu is so nice. I love Wagyu. I love almost like beef cake. Like if I were to have a birthday cake and it were made out of beef, that's what I would want it to be made out of. I don't need to... Let's not get ahead of myself. We'll reassemble as much as we can. I want to effectively have this reassembled. Now I'm on a timer though, 15 minutes. I think I can get it done. All I gotta do is flow that IC onto the PS5, and then tomorrow I come in to test it, and then keep working on knocking out this this switch light. I am at least excited to see it reassembled and with a fresh screen, fresh digitizer. We went above and beyond today. Normally wouldn't do the digitizer, but it's actually easier to just replace them both. I don't do a lot of screen replacements, so usually I just do assembly swaps. But that today made me at least a little more, assuming that this actually works out. Maybe I shouldn't jump ahead of myself, because there's still plenty of opportunity for there to be a light spot. I've had light spots in new LCDs and stuff like that that makes all my hard work worth nothing. We're just getting the joystick in. Gotta find the silver plastic screws among the sea of silver machine screws. Alright. I'm gonna go home and hopefully watch the new One Piece episode. I'm one episode behind. Big fan of One Piece. Anybody else? Caught up in the manga, but actually just read the new one that was released today. And yeah. Either they're going to go into another flashback or they're about to say some real stuff. Okay. Got our digitizer and our backlight flex. Get that flipped up. We're almost there. I could not screw all this stuff in and it would be in testable capacity now that I've got the subboard installed, but I want to see this work. It's the wrong screw. Just got a couple more, and by a couple I mean like 20, but we'll get through it pretty quick. All of our subboard screws are done after this one. Alright, so we pop our flex into place, snap it down, speaker connector, snap that down, volume power, route it and connect it along with backlight. There we go. Backlight. Joystick. Now our subboard has been fully reassembled. At this point, I just want to see it, and we're gonna, for the sake of me getting out of here on time, I'm not gonna reassemble any further than this, and we are just going to plug up and test. That's not what I wanted to see. Backlight is connected, LCD is connected. before we jump ahead of ourselves, let's see what's happening. Okay. I'm getting 15 volts, but we're not getting any current draw. That's weird. Because at least before I was
Get the PS5 repair for Matthew LeBron.
at least before I was getting LCD or image on LCD, and it is not doing what it should be doing in that regard. And I don't think this is due to LCD or anything like that, because it's just not drawing any current when I plug it in. So, yeah, it doesn't look like it's a port issue. No, well, now one thing it could be, at least consider all the variables. If backlight is not getting power, then it's not going to turn on. Well, it's not going to appear turned on. Yeah. Oh, well, there we go. I don't know what happened. But reconnecting it seemed to do the problem. All the scratches and stuff that you see are on the outside and will cease to exist whenever we take the screen cover off. So, yeah, this looks good to go. So I just needed to reconnect the flex. We're gonna set that off to the side. I'm gonna... Is Nate not here anymore?
No, he just got radios. He was
Huh?
up there. He just came up front for something. I think
Okay. Sorry about that. I was under the assumption that Nate was still here. Or
I didn't realize he was out there.
that's fine. Thank you. All right. Not gonna reassemble that 3DS or switch any further. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Only thing left for me to do today is reflow or attach. Get this south bridge attached. So really, no reason for me to do that on camera because you guys can't even see it. That's all I got for you guys today. We did a controller, PS5 no power. Tried to work on a Switch controller or 3DS PS5 controller, that PS5 Edge Pro controller, whatever you call it. Didn't get that fixed. Other PS5 we're still working on now. One Switch Lite backlight connector not plugged in. Not sure why, but plugged it back in. It seems like it's working. And this 3DS or this Switch that needed a new LCD, new digitizer. So we got that done. And yep, that's everything for today. Hope you guys saw something cool. If you have any questions or want to get any repairs done, come see us. 2 stores in Louisville, Cardinal Gaming Repair, on our website, cnagames.com. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching and enjoy the rest of your day.